r/AskReddit by Reddify. What's the scariest thing you've ever witnessed on a casual day? I left work for lunch walking to a restaurant just 2 blocks away. As I rounded the corner, a car accident happens right in front of me. A lady walking just 10 feet in front of me is hit and pinned between the car and a building. She was conscious and mad as hell. Despite her legs being obviously broken, she let loose a stream of verbal abuse on the driver about her shoes, her dress, her phone, everything except her injuries. It was surreal. Driving to work one day, lady falls asleep at the wheel, misses a turn at over 75 miles per hour. When the car stopped, it was on its side. As I run up, she is pushing on the windshield to get out. She gets out and sets down, blood all over her face and hands. Then she says, "Where's my baby?" I turn white and start looking for the worst thing I'm ever going to see. I find the baby sitting in the her seat like nothing is going on and perfectly fine. I was stopped at a red light arguing about ice cream when a motorcycle plowed into a left-turning SUV right in front of me, throwing the biker 50 feet. His legs were totally destroyed by it, and he was screaming, "My leg is broken," but his leg was more than broken. Came upon a car accident and went to help. Upside down car with wheels still spinning. Dude crawls out of backseat with blood everywhere. He looks up at me and his eye is hanging out by the nerve and rolling around his cheek. Got him clear. Professionals came. I left. I was driving in Seattle a few weeks ago on a narrow, winding road. 3 guys fly by me on motorcycles. They were trying to be cool, weaving in and out of traffic and into the oncoming lane at points. It was honestly suicidal. I was behind them thinking these guys are going to duck up hard. Sure enough, one of them gets into the bicycle lane and guns it, blows a stop sign, and almost gets wrecked by someone turning, but avoids it and loses control of his bike. Slams full speed into a house and goes flying. Dead on impact. Body ended up not far from the road. I've seen people get killed before, but that one messed me up the most for some reason. It was surreal, because I knew it was going to happen. I saw the whole thing unfold step by step, but really couldn't do much. Some crazy hobo coming at me with a knife that I hadn't noticed because I was looking at my phone at the time. Just remembered my stomach being really warm, then my thighs, and the warmth just traveled to the sidewalk, and that's when I realized I was bleeding. Making the long drive home from the lake house and following behind a tractor trailer on the highway in the middle of nowhere way up in the Canadian Rockies. We round a bend, and out of nowhere a small car coming the other way far too fast for the bend loses control and hits the tractor trailer head on at highway speeds. Big cloud of car parts explodes into the air. The small car spins violently into the ditch. Instinctively I jump out and run to the small car, shouting at another motorist to call 911. Get to the small car, and there's basically nothing left of the front. The engine was sitting on the other side of the highway. I look in what's left of the car and can't find the driver. Confused, I look around and see him in the ditch. I run over, check his carotid pulse, but nothing. I step back, and it's only then that I realize that his arm is missing. His leg is missing. His other leg is pointing completely the wrong way at the hip and is bent in a number of horrific angles. They shut the highway down for 8 hours investigating the scene. The image of his mangled body hasn't faded though. Edit: if you're wondering what a tractor trailer is, it's what we call an 18-wheeler here in Canada, also known as a semi-truck, an HGV, or an articulated lorry. I was driving behind an open-top Jeep and the dog riding in the back just jumped out. Driver had no idea that it happened. Got his attention though, and the dog was safely reunited with his owner. I was in class one day when my professor had a seizure. She tried to stand up, but ended up falling to the ground and violently shaking. And of course I was a helpless idiot and had no idea what to do. When I was in high school I got a part-time job at a psych hospital in an apprenticeship program for student nurses. I looked older and no one actually asked for my age or academic credentials, which admittedly was weird. I got assigned to an outpatient site visit team. The first month I was there we went out to see a dude who had not been checking in. He was dead and thoroughly eaten by his hoarded cats. Wife was long gone and collecting his disability checks. Not sure it was scary, but certainly was the grossest thing I've seen. Went out to eat at a Chinese restaurant with a couple of friends. One friend has a shellfish allergy, but she tells the staff every time, and we'd been to that restaurant a million times before without issue. That day we had a new server. Barely spoke English, and apparently the message didn't get passed along that she had an allergy and absolutely could not have anything that came into contact with shellfish. Her tempura couldn't even be fried in the same oil as any kind of fried shellfish. You can probably see where this is going. She started eating, then suddenly began to panic and told us to call 911 because she was having an allergic reaction. I got on the phone while she took out her EpiPen and shot it directly through her thumb. Thankfully the response time was ridiculously fast, and they were able to administer epinephrine before her throat completely closed up. Expensive hospital bill and sore thumb aside, she ended up being fine. But for a few moments there, when she shot her EpiPen through her thumb and was clearly getting worse, I really believed I might see my best friend suffocate in front of me, and there was nothing I could do. Back in the 6th grade, I was in English class while construction workers were on the roof repairing it. My English teacher steps out to talk to the principal, so everyone was starting to get loud, as you do. Then the hanging lights fall on us. The way the lights were set up in 3 lines that run across the classroom, they hung off the roof at about a foot with metal poles. The school was built in 1960, and I doubt anyone actually replaces the light holding since then. The lights start to squeak. Nobody cares, except for one kid. His spider sense kicks in and bolts out of the room. Once he gets out of the room, the lights start to collapse and everyone runs out. Our teacher looks like she's about to have a heart attack, and the principal orders everyone to check for glass shards. No one is hurt, and we all get the day off to play the Wii they have in the band room. All in all, pretty good day. Was walking back to my family's car after my great-grandmother's funeral. Not exactly casual, but it was a quiet sunny afternoon, and she had basically died of old age. We were about 40 yards from our car when we heard the loud snap of wood breaking to our left. To our horror, a large dump truck had just barreled over a small tree and was heading down a hill directly towards our cars with no one behind the wheel. 2 of my younger brothers were already running to our minivan to get the good seats and were close to its path. I still remember the screams of my parents and uncles/aunts as everyone realized what was happening within a few seconds. Amazingly, no one was hurt. My brothers stopped in their tracks and the truck missed our car, but absolutely crushed my grandpa's car right behind it and multiple great stems across the road before finally coming to a stop. We would later find out the driver had forgotten to engage the e-brake when parking. One of the scariest, most surreal moments of my life for sure. Junior high school. Was supposed to meet my buddy Nick at the swimming pool. He didn't show, so I walked the 3 blocks to his house to yell at him. His mom let me in, and I walked up to his room and opened the door. Found him hanging from a belt tied to his ceiling fan. If you are enjoying the video, please give a thumbs up and leave a comment. A wired patient running down a hallway naked, screaming that he was going to kill me before being stopped by a hospital guard. On airplane in severe turbulence. Said airplane has TV in the back of the headrests. Has a channel displaying speed, altitude, location. During turbulence, plane fell almost 4k feet in a matter of 20 seconds in bad downdraft. I, the passenger, did indeed piss myself. My friend and I got lost in downtown KC while on our way to a concert. We had pulled over and were looking at the directions. Across the street was a very high steep hill with a sidewalk. I suddenly see a little girl in a toy car start rolling down the hill toward oncoming traffic. A man is right behind, presumably the father. Doesn't notice immediately. In a matter of seconds, this little girl is flying down the hill and her father is sprinting after her. My friend and I are holding our breath, horrified at what we are seeing. The road at the base of the hill is bustling with cars. Suddenly, the father launches himself in the air, think Superman flying, and catches the handle of the car. It was absolutely insane and terrifying, but also an incredibly powerful moment. The father gave no thought to his injuries, just dove to save his daughter. I was visiting New York City and my friend and I were trying to rent bikes, but they were all gone. This couple was going back to Europe the next day and they really wanted to go on a bike ride. But they only had one bike. I gave them the one I was going to rent, and they were so happy. The excitement on their faces made my day. My friend and I go to another bike rack like 1/4 of the mile away and get 2 bikes. As we were riding down the path we hear sirens and a hit ton of people are huddled in an area with a garbage truck like 10 feet away. Apparently the brakes on the rented bikes didn't work, and this person got hit by a garbage truck. There was a trail of blood like 10 feet long and the person on the ground was seizing very badly. As we got closer, the guy from earlier was hysterical and the person on the ground was his wife. The same couple we made so happy by giving our bikes to them had their lives change forever in an instant. Honestly, the scene of the accident made it very clear she wasn't going to survive. It was really bad. That has stuck with me for a while, because that was supposed to be my bike. I was supposed to get the bike with the non-functioning brakes. In what was an act of kindness on my part, was the demise of that beautiful couple. What would have happened if I never gave my bike away? Would I have gotten hit by that garbage truck?